Hey, what's going on, guys? XcLuSiVe here, and today I'm bringing you another episode of my XcluSiVe mailbox series. This should be episode 2 or 3. I really appreciate all the support that you guys gave me on the first episode. That was absolutely crazy. You guys are awesome. Thank you guys so much for supporting me and supporting the people that are struggling with these issues. But this is a longer message. This episode is a longer message, and I don't even know if I can actually fit it on screen. I'm probably gonna try, but if I can't, I guess just listen to what I have to say. But yeah, this is going to be a long one, and let's jump right into it. So it started a good 3 to 4 years ago, back in year 10. It started off small like it does, feeling like you're trapped in a box, doing the same routine day in and day out, and thinking that it'll pass, but it doesn't. It all started from having to move around a lot as a child and having to leave friends, but when I moved to where I am now, I found it hard to adjust. I moved here around 9, and at that age it's never really hard to make friends, but they're not really your friends. As well as when you're in year 7, but when I got to years 9 and 10, that's when the feeling started. The more and more I started feeling it, and got to the point where I decided to open my eyes a bit towards the world, and the box got smaller. I realized I was hanging around with people who never realized I was there, never talked to me, and I was always on the outside of the group. In year 11, I started taking unprescribed antidepressants, thinking that they'd make me feel better. But they just made me feel like I needed to take more to try and feel better, and I started taking 6 to 8 at a time. He wasn't trying to overdose, he's puts in parentheses. I had to start staying up all night listening out for my stepdad in case he was having a fit, resulting in me not having more than a good 3 to 5 hours of sleep per day, up until this point. At the end of year 11, it really hit me, as at the very last day everyone was taking photos, hugging each other, and saying goodbye, and no one came up to me and said anything. When I started college at age 16, when you're in England, you start college pretty early. I found it even harder to make friends, and found myself hating it within the first few days, because I'm doing something I hate, but having to do it because it's the only thing I'm good at. At lunch, I used to sit on my own and just wait for nothing to happen. Finally, someone talked to me, and as I started to make more friends, the more I thought I'd get out of the box. But no, later on in the year I was getting blasted, people talking behind my back, calling me weird, freak, etc. because I have OCD. And that made me just want to quit. But my mom wouldn't let me, so I had to push through it. When I went back to my second year, shit was still hard, but the feeling got even worse. It's like you said, you lose all hope and feel like you're never going to get it back. And when you get the tiniest bit, you hold on to it, wishing that things will get better. But what happens if they don't? I always had that feeling of wanting to just go, wondering whom would miss me, other than family. But not the feeling of wanting to commit suicide, just the feeling of not caring if someone was to have shot me, or if I were to get a serious disease, as you knew it would just make things easier. Then later on in my second year of college, things got good. I got close to someone, which resulted in us going out, which we still are. Things started looking great, and I felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. Until she told me she was moving away for a job, after she told me she'd never take a job if it meant leaving me, which sent me straight back into that box feeling. And now I'm here, still holding on to that little bit of hope I desire so much, but still in the back of my mind and gut knowing it won't get any better. So that was the message I got, and I want to talk about first the real trick to getting out of that box that he's talking about. The real trick to getting out of that box is just finding something you love doing and just doing it, doing everything you can to be the absolute best at it. If you can do that, it doesn't even matter what it is. It could be graphic design, singing, diagnosing medical illnesses. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it is. Whatever it is, if you focus your energy into doing that, doing what you love, whatever it is that you do as a hobby, if you focus your energy into doing that and becoming just absolutely great at it, that can give you the biggest boost of confidence that you didn't even really know you had. And it can open doors that, later on the road can lead to jobs and all of that. But that's how you get out of that box. That's at least my understanding of how you can get out of that. would be to do something that you love and to really, really get good at it, really focus on it, and that'll give you a little bit of a boost of confidence. You say that you started taking 6 to 8 unprescribed antidepressants at a time, hoping it would help. And I mean, there's a lot of problems with that. Aside from the obvious ones that you can accidentally overdose if you continue to take that. I don't know if you still do that. I'm assuming you maybe stopped when you got your girlfriend. I'm assuming, but I don't know. For all I know, you could still be taking it. For all I know, this could have been years ago and you don't anymore. But yeah, I mean, aside from the obvious that you could overdose on the drugs you're taking, antidepressants affect everyone differently. And if you could, I mean, there's, how do I explain this? There's so many different kinds of antidepressants that if you take the wrong one, I mean, there's going to be that one antidepressant for you, and if you're taking the wrong one, it can do the complete opposite effect. It can make you feel horrible, and that's just the way they kind of work. And if you're taking a lot of the wrong one, it can make you feel horrible. And I'm nervous that you might be taking the wrong one, and you're not really going to know unless you went to see a doctor and had them prescribe you an antidepressant that would work for you. And if you're not going to do that, then I wouldn't take them, because you're probably doing a lot more damage to yourself than good. But yeah, you also talk about your stepdad and how he has these like fits that would keep you up at night. And I know exactly how that feels. Believe me, I know exactly how that feels, unfortunately. And what sucks about that, right? What sucks about that is when you're a kid and you have to sit there and listen to it and sit there and deal with it. And when that's all happening, you have nowhere to go. You have nowhere to run. You got nowhere to hide. You got nowhere to go, and you're just kind of stuck where you are. But as you get older, which you probably started to realize because you're in college now, is that it gets easier to block out. It gets easier to ignore. It gets easier to realize that he's wrong. And when you move out, if you haven't done that already, you then have somewhere else to go. You have somewhere to run to, if you want to use that wording, and you won't have to worry about that again. So if you do still live with your parents, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but if you do, when you finally move out, that's your way out of that. You won't have to deal with that anymore, and that'll get easier. You'll be able to block that out and kind of put that behind you. But yeah, you also say that you hate college and that's the only thing you're good at. That's not true at all. You beat yourself up for no reason. I mean, yeah, school sucks, at least in my opinion. I'm not a fan of school, but it's not the only thing you're good at. I mean, I had this is talking to everybody else. I had the pleasure of talking to this guy on Skype before I made this video, and we talked about graphic design, and because he's into graphic design, so am I, and he showed me some of his work, and I was genuinely impressed. I was pretty impressed. I'd only seen a couple of his designs, but I was impressed, and I found myself asking him, how he did a certain effect in this design. I was asking him, and I'm a graphic designer myself. It's not the only thing you're good at. You are talented. You really are. You just can't see that. And I know you have a lot of other things on your mind, and I don't really blame you, but it's not the only thing you're good at. You've proved that to me multiple times by showing me these different designs. You really are good at what you do, or what you strive to do. Hopefully you want to do something with that, or if that's just a hobby, you're very good at it. And school is definitely not the only thing you're good at. Reading back, you say that people used to talk behind your back, called you all sorts of things because you have OCD. If people actually gave you shit for having OCD, then I find that pathetic, and that just makes me sick to know that people are that cold. And to be completely honest, those people that do that deserve to get hit by a bus, in my opinion. That doesn't make them right, and by no means does it mean you should waste any of your attention on them. I know that's hard to ignore, but you just gotta try. You gotta try to ignore, because they are not worth your time at all. And I know this was probably a while ago, but if it's not and it still bugs you, you just gotta try and put it behind you, man. They're not worth your time. And like I said, the people that do that deserve to get hit by a bus, because that's absolutely ridiculous. But that's just my opinion. And yeah, this is the part that I wanted to read back to you guys. And this is going to be the part that's hard for me to talk about and hard to read or hear. But I think it's important for me to say. So I'm going to read this part of the message back, and then I'm going to talk about it. It's like you said, you lose all hope and feel like you're never going to get it back. And when you get the tiniest bit, you hold on to it, wishing that things will get better. But what happens if they don't? I also had the feeling of just wanting to go, wondering whom would miss me, other than family. But not the feeling of wanting to commit suicide, just the feeling of not caring if someone was to have shot me, or if I were to get a serious disease, as you knew it would just make things much easier. Killing yourself or dying is not the way out of this. It is never the way out of anything. Look, when I was depressed and when I wanted to just end everything, when I wanted it to just stop, which, by the way, this would have been the worst decision of my life, and I'm glad I didn't choose to do it. There was one thing that I remembered that changed my mind and that kept me holding on. I mean, I don't have a good relationship with my dad at all. It sounds like you don't either. I don't have a good relationship with my dad, but my mom and my sister and my friends, they mean everything to me. And I wanted to be here for them, regardless of what happens with your girlfriend, dude. This would change everything. And doing this would be a pain that her and your family would have to deal with for the rest of their life. It's a pain that never goes away. And you don't want to do that. I know things are hard, and I know it seems like there's no way out, and that just it's never going to end. But that doesn't mean you stop trying. You know, through everything, you have to keep trying. You have to be strong and just keep trying. And if you don't want to keep trying for you, keep trying for them. I'm going to put the number in the chat for the suicide hotline in the UK and as well as the US, in the description. Just in case you start feeling like you're in that bad place. But you can get through this. I know she's moving away, and if you don't stay together through some sort of long distance relationship, you will meet somebody else. You will meet somebody else. People come into your life for all sorts of different reasons, man. All sorts of different reasons, and you'll be surprised at what can happen. You say you know it won't get any better at the end of this message. You don't know that. Things can always turn around. You can always turn things around. But in order for that to happen, if you like really, really want to start feeling better, I think you're going to need to see somebody that's more qualified than me to help you. I think you're going to need to see a therapist to help you deal with the issues you're having. And hopefully what I've said has helped. But I think that if you really want it all to work, if you really, really want to feel better, you're going to need to go to a therapist and have them and just talk about everything and have them help you. And they will be able to help you. And you will get better. You just have to stay strong and believe that you can. And yeah, that's, just by the way I am, I want to keep talking and I want to say everything that I possibly can, but I think that we're out of time. And I don't really know what else to say, to be completely honest with you. Other than that, it will get better. And you don't know that that you can turn things around. You really can. You just have to believe that you can and just stay strong, and hopefully this helped.